Have you ever noticed something strange? The people who chase attention rarely keep it, but the ones who walk in silence somehow command every room they enter. Real strength isn't loud. It doesn't beg for validation. It doesn't waste time proving its worth. While everyone else is busy impressing the world, the strongest minds are quietly building a version of themselves that no opinion can break. Being attractive has very little to do with your face, your clothes, or your money. It's the calm in your voice, the confidence in your decisions, the discipline to stay focused, and the courage to walk away from anything that steals your peace. Most people spend their lives trying to be liked. A few learn how to be respected, and those few become impossible to ignore. Today, you'll discover 6 habits that quietly transform ordinary people into individuals who naturally attract respect, confidence, and influence without chasing anyone's approval. Most people think strength is about never feeling anything. They believe the strongest person is the one who never gets angry, never gets hurt, never feels fear. That's the biggest illusion ever sold. You don't become powerful by killing your emotions. You become powerful by refusing to let them control your decisions. Look around. One insult can ruin someone's entire day. One rejection can destroy years of confidence. One failure is enough to make people quit dreams they once promised themselves they would die for. Think about how dangerous that is. If someone else can control your emotions with a few words, then they control your life without ever touching you. The world is full of people reacting instead of thinking. They explode over small problems. They argue to protect their ego. They seek revenge because their pride was wounded. They chase approval because silence makes them uncomfortable. Every emotional reaction becomes another chain around their mind. The strongest person in the room isn't always the loudest. It's usually the one who remains calm while everyone else loses control. That kind of calm makes people uncomfortable because they can't predict you. They can't manipulate you. They can't use your anger against you. They expect an emotional explosion, but instead they face silence, patience, and complete control. Real confidence begins the moment you stop giving temporary emotions permanent authority. Anger lasts a few minutes. Regret can last a lifetime. That's why intelligent people don't make permanent decisions during temporary emotions. They know feelings are like storms. No storm stays forever. But many people destroy their own homes trying to fight the rain. When someone insults you, your first instinct is to answer back. Your ego screams for revenge. It wants the last word. It wants victory. But what if the greatest victory is refusing to play the game at all? Nothing confuses toxic people more than someone who refuses to react. They feed on your frustration. They grow stronger from your attention. The moment you stop feeding them, their power disappears. Control is quiet. Chaos is loud. Imagine carrying a cup filled to the very top with water. Every sudden movement spills it. Now imagine your mind as that cup. Every insult, every disappointment, every opinion shakes it until everything pours out. A mentally strong person doesn't stop people from shaking the cup. They simply learn how to carry it without spilling what's inside. Your emotions are valuable servants, but terrible masters. Happiness can inspire you, fear can warn you, anger can reveal injustice, sadness can teach reflection. But the moment these emotions become your leader, they start driving your life toward places you never intended to go. Notice how successful people often pause before speaking. That pause isn't weakness, it's power. They create a space between feeling and reacting. Inside that space lives wisdom. Inside that space lives discipline. Inside that space, you decide your response instead of allowing your emotions to decide for you. Life will test you constantly. People will disrespect you. Plans will fail. Trust will be broken. Opportunities will disappear. None of these events decide your future. Your response does. Every difficult situation gives you two choices. React like everyone expects, or respond like the person you're becoming. The person who masters emotions doesn't become cold. They become clear. They still feel pain, but pain doesn't own them. They still experience fear, but fear doesn't stop them. They still face disappointment, but disappointment never becomes their identity. They understand that emotions are visitors, not permanent residents. Every moment, you resist the urge to react impulsively. You're training your mind to become stronger than your circumstances. Every time you choose patience over anger, discipline over impulse, and clarity over chaos, you're building a level of mental strength that no one can steal. Eventually, people stop remembering your words. They remember your composure, because in a world addicted to emotional reactions, self-control becomes the rarest form of power. Most people believe power belongs to the one who talks the most. They fill every silence with unnecessary words, desperate explanations, endless opinions, and promises they never keep. They think speaking more makes them look intelligent. In reality, the louder someone tries to prove themselves, the less convincing they become. Silence has a strange effect on people. It makes the impatient uncomfortable. It makes dishonest people nervous. It makes those who crave attention feel invisible. That's why so many fear it. They mistake silence for weakness, when in truth, it often hides the strongest mind in the room. A person who speaks less isn't empty. They're observing. While everyone else is busy announcing their next move, they're studying expressions, listening to tones, noticing patterns, and understanding intentions. Most people hear words. Very few hear the truth behind them. People reveal themselves when they think nobody is paying attention. They expose their insecurities through their jokes. They reveal their jealousy through fake compliments. They confess their fears through criticism. You don't need to interrogate anyone. You simply need the patience to watch. The world rewards those who know when to remain quiet. Words cannot be taken back. One careless sentence can destroy years of trust. One emotional reaction can erase a reputation built over decades. Silence, on the other hand, gives you time. Time to think. Time to understand. Time to choose a response, instead of becoming a prisoner of your first emotion. Notice how people often interrupt because they're waiting for their turn to speak, not trying to understand. They're preparing arguments before the other person even finishes a sentence. Their ears are open, but their minds are closed. They collect opportunities to respond instead of opportunities to learn. Every conversation becomes a source of knowledge. When your goal changes from being impressive to being aware, the less you focus on proving your intelligence, the more intelligent your decisions become. There is a reason secrets rarely stay secret. Most people cannot resist talking. They announce dreams before taking the first step. They reveal plans before building a foundation. They expose weaknesses to people who secretly enjoy watching them fail. Then they wonder why everything falls apart. Not every thought deserves to become a sentence. Some victories are protected by silence. Some goals grow stronger when they remain private. The moment you tell everyone what you're about to achieve, you invite opinions, doubts, jealousy, and unnecessary pressure into something that should have been built in peace. Observation is a skill that changes everything. A smile doesn't always mean happiness. Confidence isn't always loud. Kindness isn't always genuine. The person who flatters you today may envy you tomorrow. The person who criticizes you may actually fear your potential. Human behavior speaks long before words do. Watch how people treat someone who has nothing to offer them. Watch how they behave when things don't go their way. Watch what they do when nobody is watching. Character is never revealed during comfort. It appears during inconvenience. Silence also protects you from manipulation. Many people ask questions not because they care, but because they're searching for information they can later use against you. The more you reveal without purpose, the more control you unknowingly hand over. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You don't owe everyone access to your thoughts. There is confidence in not needing the last word. There is strength in allowing someone to underestimate you. Let them believe you've said everything when you've barely revealed anything. Expectations become easier to control when people know less about you. The strongest observer understands that every room has two conversations. One is spoken aloud. The other happens through body language, facial expressions, timing, hesitation, and silence. Those hidden conversations often tell the real story. When you stop competing to be heard, you begin hearing what everyone else misses. You notice the lies hidden inside confidence, the fear hiding behind arrogance, the loneliness behind constant attention, and the insecurity behind endless criticism. The more carefully you observe, the less easily you're deceived, and the less you speak without purpose, the more every word you choose begins to carry weight. Discipline isn't exciting. It doesn't come with applause, dramatic music, or instant rewards. That's exactly why so few people have it. Everyone loves the idea of success, but almost nobody falls in love with the boring process that creates it. They wait for motivation to arrive like a miracle, never realizing that motivation disappears the moment life becomes uncomfortable. The truth is simple. Feelings are unreliable. Some mornings you'll wake up full of energy. Other mornings you'll question everything you've ever believed about yourself. If your actions depend on your emotions, your future will always depend on your mood. The strongest people don't ask themselves whether they feel like doing the work. They ask whether the work needs to be done. That single difference separates dreamers from builders. Every excuse sounds reasonable while you're making it. I'll start tomorrow. I need the perfect time. I'm not ready yet. One day won't matter. Those words feel harmless until you realize they've stolen months, then years, from your life. The most dangerous lie isn't told by other people. It's the one you repeat to yourself until it becomes your reality. Comfort has a strange way of disguising itself as happiness. It tells you to sleep a little longer, scroll a little more, quit a little earlier, avoid difficult conversations. Skip today's responsibilities because tomorrow always seems available. Little by little, comfort steals your confidence. Not because you're incapable, but because you've trained yourself to avoid effort. Confidence isn't built by positive thinking alone. It's built by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you tell yourself you'll wake up early and you don't, your mind remembers. Every time you promise to exercise but make another excuse, your mind remembers. Every unfinished goal, every broken commitment, every abandoned habit sends one message deep into your subconscious. Your own words cannot be trusted. Imagine living with someone who constantly lies to you. Eventually, you'd stop believing them. That's exactly what happens when you repeatedly break promises to yourself. You stop believing in your own ability to change. Discipline repairs that broken trust. It begins with small victories that nobody celebrates. Getting out of bed when you don't want to. Finishing work after everyone else has given up. Staying focused while distractions beg for your attention. Choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure. These moments seem ordinary, but they're quietly transforming your identity. People often admire successful individuals without respecting the sacrifices hidden behind their achievements. They notice the results, but ignore the lonely mornings, the rejected invitations, the endless repetition, and the invisible battles fought every single day. Success is rarely built during moments of excitement. It's built during moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. Your habits become your identity long before they become your results. Every repeated action is a vote for the person you're becoming. Skip your responsibilities often enough, and laziness becomes normal. Keep showing up, despite discomfort, and resilience becomes automatic. The brain adapts to whatever you practice most. If you practice excuses, excuses become effortless. If you practice discipline, discipline eventually feels natural. The world constantly offers distractions because distracted people are easier to control. Endless entertainment, endless opinions, endless reasons to delay your own progress. Hours disappear without creating anything meaningful. Days pass, months vanish. Then people wonder why nothing changes while repeating the same routine that created their disappointment. Discipline protects you from becoming a prisoner of temporary pleasure. It reminds you that what feels good today may destroy tomorrow, while what feels difficult today may build a future you'll one day be grateful for. You don't become mentally strong by avoiding difficult tasks. You become mentally strong by facing them before your excuses have time to speak. Every challenge completed teaches your mind that discomfort is survivable. Every obstacle overcome weakens fear and strengthens belief. Eventually, discipline becomes something deeper than a habit. It becomes a quiet reputation you build with yourself. You stop relying on inspiration because your actions no longer wait for permission from your emotions. You move because you've decided who you are. And once that decision is made, excuses lose their voice, while consistency becomes the language your life speaks every single day. Not everyone deserves a place in your life. That's a truth most people spend years trying to avoid. They hold on to toxic friendships out of guilt, stay in one-sided relationships out of fear, and keep chasing people who have already shown them exactly how little they care. Then they wonder why their peace keeps disappearing. The people around you shape the person you become far more than you realize. Every conversation, every habit, every opinion, every attitude slowly leaves a mark on your mind. Spend enough time around negativity, and eventually it starts sounding like your own thoughts. That's how poison works. It rarely arrives all at once. It spreads quietly until you can no longer remember what peace felt like. Some people don't want to see you fail because they hate you. They want to see you fail because your growth reminds them of everything they refuse to become. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your confidence reflects their insecurity. Your progress forces them to confront the life they settled for. And that's a mirror many people would rather break than look into. Pay attention to the people who laugh when you dream big. Listen carefully to those who constantly remind you of your limits, but never your potential. Notice the ones who only appear when they need something and disappear when you need support. Patterns never lie. People eventually reveal exactly who they are. The mistake isn't believing them once. The mistake is refusing to believe them after they've shown you repeatedly. Many people confuse loyalty with self-destruction. Loyalty doesn't mean allowing disrespect. It doesn't mean accepting manipulation. It doesn't mean sacrificing your mental health just to keep someone comfortable. If staying connected to someone constantly drains your energy, destroys your confidence, or fills your mind with doubt, that's not loyalty. That's captivity, wearing a friendly face. Some people become addicted to fixing everyone around them. They believe love means saving broken people who have no intention of changing. They pour time, energy, patience, and compassion into someone who keeps choosing the same destructive path. Eventually, they realize they weren't helping anyone. They were simply drowning beside them. You cannot rescue someone who enjoys sinking. Negativity isn't always loud. Sometimes it hides behind constant complaints. Sometimes it wears the mask of sarcasm. Sometimes it pretends to be honesty, while quietly destroying every hopeful idea before it has a chance to grow. Spend enough time around people who criticize everything, and eventually you'll begin criticizing yourself before anyone else gets the chance. Protecting your peace doesn't make you selfish. It makes you responsible. There will always be people who become angry when you stop accepting disrespect. They were benefiting from the version of you that stayed silent, apologized for things you didn't do, and ignored your own needs to satisfy theirs. The moment you create boundaries, they call you cold. The moment you choose yourself, they accuse you of changing. They're right. You did change. You stopped confusing kindness with weakness. Walking away requires courage, because the familiar always feels safer than the unknown. Even painful relationships can become comfortable simply because they're predictable. The mind often prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. That's why so many people remain trapped inside situations they secretly wish they could escape. Strength is sometimes found in the doors you close, not the ones you open. Every goodbye creates space for something healthier. Every toxic connection you release gives your mind room to breathe again. Every unnecessary argument you refuse protects your energy for battles that actually matter. Peace isn't found by changing difficult people. Peace is found by deciding they no longer have unlimited access to your life. The strongest individuals don't waste years trying to convince others to value them. They understand that respect cannot be begged for, loyalty cannot be forced, and genuine care cannot be manipulated into existence. They stop chasing acceptance from people who have already decided not to give it. Some departures happen without words. No dramatic speeches, no revenge, no endless explanations. Just quiet distance, complete clarity, and the decision to never again sacrifice your mental strength for people who treat your presence like it's optional. Because once you understand your own value, protecting your peace becomes more important than protecting relationships that were slowly destroying it from the inside. Pressure reveals people. It strips away the masks the rehearsed confidence, and the polished image they show the world. Anyone can smile when life is easy. Anyone can appear fearless when nothing is at risk. The real test begins when everything starts falling apart. That's when character speaks louder than words. Most people panic the moment life refuses to follow their plans. One unexpected problem, one painful loss, one difficult conversation, and suddenly they forget everything they claim to believe about themselves. Their emotions take control. Their judgment becomes clouded, and they make decisions they'll spend years regretting. Pressure doesn't create weakness. It exposes it. Think about a piece of glass. Apply enough pressure, and it shatters. Think about a diamond. It exists because it survived pressure that would have destroyed almost everything else. The difference isn't luck. The difference is what each one was built to endure. Your mind works the same way. Every challenge is asking one question. Will you react or will you respond? Those two choices may look similar, but they lead to completely different lives. Reacting is emotional, impulsive, and immediate. Responding is thoughtful, controlled, and intentional. One is driven by fear. The other is guided by discipline. People often believe staying calm means pretending nothing is wrong. That's not calmness. That's denial. Real calmness means recognizing the storm without becoming the storm. It means accepting reality while refusing to surrender your ability to think clearly. Look closely at those who command respect. They don't rush every decision. They don't allow panic to choose their words. While everyone else is shouting, blaming, or making excuses, they pause. That pause is invisible to most people, yet it changes everything. In that brief moment, they separate emotion from action. The world constantly tries to speed you up. Respond immediately, get angry immediately, defend yourself immediately, prove your point immediately. But urgency is often the greatest ally of bad decisions. The faster your emotions move, the slower your wisdom becomes. Some battles are lost the moment you decide to fight them. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every challenge deserves your energy. Learning what to ignore is just as important as knowing what to confront. There is incredible power in emotional restraint. Imagine someone desperately trying to provoke you. They expect anger. They expect frustration. They expect you to lose control, because that's the only environment where they know how to win. Then you remain calm. You answer with clarity instead of rage. Suddenly the game changes. The person trying to manipulate you realizes they no longer have access to your emotions. That kind of control cannot be faked. Calm people aren't fearless. They simply refuse to let fear become their leader. Every difficult situation carries two burdens. One is the problem itself. The other is the emotional chaos people create around it. Most individuals suffer more from their own panic than from the actual challenge standing in front of them. Their imagination creates disasters long before reality ever does. The mind becomes sharper when it isn't drowning in emotional noise. Pressure also teaches patience. The greatest opportunities rarely arrive during moments of comfort. They appear disguised as setbacks, failures, delays, and uncertainty. Those who remain calm long enough to think clearly often discover solutions hidden behind obstacles that caused everyone else to give up. Strength isn't measured by how loudly you fight. It's measured by how steadily you stand when everything around you is shaking. Life will continue testing you. Unexpected failures will arrive without warning. People will disappoint you. Plans will collapse. Doors will close. The world owes no one an easy path, and expecting one only creates frustration. But every moment you choose clarity over panic, patience over impulse, and reason over emotion, you're building a mind that becomes harder to break with every challenge. Eventually, pressure stops feeling like an enemy because you've trained yourself to remain the one thing chaos can never control: calm.